I call this meeting of the Duncanville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will now move to the first report and conduct a public hearing on the first report presented by Dr. Bigby.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Smith, I guess this is on. As you know, annually, we have to present the first, which is the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas report in a public meeting, and also present it to you to show you how we graded out. Actually, in 2016-17, they put it out, call it the 17-18 system, but all the data is from the 16-17 school year. This thing is always smarter than I am. Quick history, this is the 16th year they've had this. They started it back at the time where quite a few districts were having financial trouble, and this gave them a quick snapshot of who was really in trouble and who wasn't. Once again, the district earned the highest rating that you can earn, is a superior rating. And I think that's quite a reflection on you and the superintendent and how things have been run around here for a good many years to let the taxpayers know you're taking care of the tax money and you're doing the best that can be done with it. There's 15 indicators this year. We scored 90 out of 100 points. I'll show you those points that we didn't get the full rating on, but it was still in the superior range. Also in the first, and we won't cover these tonight, but we have to include any transactions that you as a board or the superintendent, your travel expenses, any of those kind of things. If the superintendent received compensation from outside the district, then that has to be reported. If anyone received gifts at the senior level, administrative staff or board members over $250, those have to be reported. And if board members conducted business with the district, that has to be reported in first. I'm not going to try to read these to you. That's a little small, but to show you that all of these are answered yes. There's 4 of these indicators. If they're answered no, you immediately fail. So we're always glad to see those come up yes. The next one's number 8 and number 11, and I'll explain those a little more in depth, but those are the ones we lost points on. Number 8, they take a ratio between liabilities and assets. And if you remember, this is the 16-17 school year. You had a lot of bond money that was being invested, but they weren't yet assets. Once those buildings were completed, then they became assets rather than construction in progress. So it changes that ratio considerably. So this should be much better next year, which will be the 17-18 school year, but really better the year after that. The other one, number 11, is district administrative cost ratios. They take everybody that's in function 21, which is instructional administration and general administration, then they take the ratio of that compared to instructional cost, function 12, media and library, function 13, which is staff development, and function 31, which is counselors and guidance. Don't know how they decided what group fell into that instructional part, but when they take the ratio of that, we fell down. We lost 4 points on that, and that's mostly due to our cost in instructional administration, not in general administration. General is a central office, and instructional are more the curriculum-rated people that are campus supports, which to me they ought to be in instructional, but they didn't ask me. 14 and 15, we got all the points on that. You can see that the rating from 90 to 100 superior. They consider meeting standard anywhere from 60 to 79. And there are some districts, sadly enough, that wound up with Fs. Once again, number 8, by 0.2 of a point, we would have had 6 points instead of 4. So it was extremely close. And once again, that should shift considerably as we have more assets. And on the administrative cost, 17 thousandths of a point, and we would have been up to 8 points. So it was pretty close. And that's the first report. quickly be happy to go over more of it or entertain questions from you or from the audience. If not, thank you.
Thank you for the glossary of terms, too. That was necessary.
Are there any public comments on the first report? We do not have any public comments. The hearing has ended. We will now move to the opening ceremonies, and I ask Joe Veracruz to lead us in the invocation.
Please stand. Gracious Father, we thank you for all the resources, Lord, that you've blessed us with in this district. We ask the Holy Spirit to continue to guide us, to make us great stewards of all that you've given us. As we proceed into the holiday season, Lord, Thanksgiving, we're thankful for all that you've given us, and we pray for the safety of everyone that comes in and out of our district, that they may be in your arms, Lord, and that we always remember that it's you who provides. In your mighty name I pray, amen. Amen.
Yes, we do have some. Our Pledge of Allegiance is going to be presented by the National Junior Honor Society officers from Byrd Middle School.
Good evening. To the Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith, I'm so honored to introduce to you our National Junior Honor Society officers. We have Kennedy Brown, President. We have Alicia DuBois, Secretary. And we have Dorian Woods, Vice President. And we also have our sponsor, Ms. Jan Brady.
We will now welcome T.R. Richard for recognitions.
Good morning, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith. As always, every month it is an honor and a privilege to come before you to recognize our Made with Pride in Duncanville honorees. So I won't hesitate. We have a long meeting ahead of us. I'm going to start off with our staff of the month, Miss Angela Alvarez. All right, so Ms. Alvarez works out in the warehouse, and even though she works in the warehouse, you see quite a bit of her throughout the district. She has an all-in attitude and has been instrumental in helping the counseling department meet basic student needs, in particular this year. Some of you may not know, but the North Texas Food Bank has relocated from Cockrell Hill to Plano. They did that this summer. And so many of our campuses here in the district have participated in the Food for Kids program that provides students with backpacks of food that they take home over the weekend. I mean, we feed our kids all week long at school, but on the weekend, that becomes sort of a food desert for some of them. And so this is a program that supports that. So when Angela heard that our students might not have an opportunity to participate in this program, she arranged to coordinate with the counseling department to send a driver to Plano bi-weekly to pick up food. Another recent occurrence involves the Coats for Kids program. And again, she learned that their team, when she learned that they might not be able to receive coats through this program, she made it so that they can go pick up those coats and deliver them to the campuses specifically. And the phrase she used, and we've heard her use it time and time again, is we will do whatever we need to help our kids. Her willingness to assist us as we partner with the community stakeholders to meet every student's needs is greatly appreciated. So that is why this month, Angela is being recognized as our Made with Pride in Duncanville Staff of the Month. Next up, we will honor our Student of the Month, Mr. Angel Nuncio. So our Student of the Month, Mr. Angel Nuncio, he is a member of the Pace family, so he attends Pace High School, and he started there in early October after spending his 9th grade year of high school in the Homebound program. So many of you may have seen Angel before. He was actually recognized last year by WFAA TV back in November because the Reed Middle School band was recognizing him and taking care of him whenever he was at home sick for a little while. And so while he was home, he was still practicing every day with the band, and so he would even FaceTime, and they saved his chair and the seat in the band hall, put the iPad up so he could practice with them and participate. And so Angel is just a huge member of the Duncanville family, and so whenever he advanced to high school and needed that opportunity to continue to be in the band, he's been given that opportunity. So not only is he a member of Pace, and the first Pace student to ever become a member of the Duncanville High School Marching Band in addition to being at Pace. He's just an outstanding student, a wonderful person, just has a great spirit. He's a unique personality, and his strength and perseverance throughout all the struggles that may come his way in life, he just handles it all with a smile and with a lot of grace. And so we're really honored today to recognize Mr. Angel Nuncio as our Made with Pride in Duncanville Student of the Month. And last but not least, we have our Made with Pride in Duncanville Teacher of the Month, Mr. Curtis Ferguson. So Mr. Ferguson is an art teacher at Byrd Middle School. Now, let me say that Mr. Ferguson does a lot for his school. He is a positive role model for our male students and all students in general, but in particular our male students. He's currently the art teacher there, where he makes cards for our teachers that have celebrated their birthdays. He also runs the art club and the boys program called I Am a Man. He's also in charge of the Hispanic Heritage Program festivities, where he worked and partnered with other teachers to make that happen. He did a movie night for the students, prepared for tryouts for that Hispanic Heritage Program, and ultimately put together a really impressive program there at Byrd. He really has a heart for kids, and if you've seen any of the Facebook comments of his video that went up online showing that he was recognized for this, he had comments from students from years back who were happy to celebrate and recognize all of the hard work you do. And we're really thankful and appreciative that you are a Made with Pride in Duncanville Teacher of the Month. And while Mr. Ferguson comes over for his photo with our board president, we always try to make sure that we can encapsulate a lot of what happens with our teacher, student, and staff. And so we have a quick video to show you just a little bit about what makes them so special.
Duncanville ISD congratulates the following student, staff member, and teacher who were made with pride in Duncanville.
The goal and objective is to get students to love art, to get them to see beauty wherever they look. There's so many things going on in the world that are bad, negative. So if we can get them to see beauty, that's kind of our objective. And we're really excited about it. If they can use their gifts and talents to create. It's not about drawing, it's not about just painting, but it's about being able to create and see things differently.
When I first got here, everyone used to say that what we do is for the children. And so we all got on board. So when you go to the schools and you actually see the children that are in need, it comes together and it's stuck. And so every chance, every opportunity we get, if we have it, we get on it and we deliver.
The reason why Angel was a good candidate for Made with Pride is because he has overcome many, many obstacles. When he has to be at home for doctor's appointments and the like, he is still diligently working through his coursework. And so he is doing very well in his coursework because of the work that he's doing at home. So he's not the typical student. He's got some obstacles that other students don't have, and he's still excelling even despite those obstacles.
These honorees truly are made with pride in Duncanville.
And as always, you can't be made with pride without having a lot of people backing you up and supporting you. So I'd ask if there are any family members, and that includes school family, who were here with these honorees. Would you please stand so we can celebrate you too?
I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Smith for the superintendent's reports.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I have just a few short items to report this evening. First, we want to take a moment to acknowledge and recognize and thank all of our veterans for their support to our country. Yesterday, of course, was Veterans Day. We have some activities throughout our district today and wanted to make sure that we took a moment and just let all of our veterans know that you are the true heroes and that you make a lot of things possible for us that we sometimes take for granted. And so for those of you that are veterans, want to ask if you could stand and be recognized. Thank you. The next item I have is an update on the Duncanville Marching Band and the hi-hats. We want to send a congratulations, or what the kids would say, a shout out to the Duncanville Marching Band. They recently participated in the state competition. We're really proud of them and the work that they have done. State recognized, but also nationally recognized in a lot of ways. And so leading up to the state competition, they placed 5th at the Area B competition last month, allowing us to qualify for the state marching band contest for the 19th time since 1984. And so we're really proud of the work that they do and the tradition that they're continuing to maintain here in Duncanville. Also, I want to share a brief report on just the outcome of some of the voting that took place on voting day last week. Sometimes we take for granted just the success and support that we have from our communities. And so we know here in Duncanville how supportive our community is. They recently demonstrated that support by passing our TRE just a short time ago. And so all across the state of Texas on last week was really the public education was a winner. And so all across the state there were bond elections and TRE elections that successfully passed. And so sometimes the narrative is that communities don't support public schools, but all the data says different. And so we experienced that here in Duncanville across the state of Texas. I think it was a little over 68% of the TREs, or tax ratification elections, across the state were successful. And so I wanted to share and report out on that information and on that data. And of course, again, thanking our community as well. The next item is, in addition to letting everyone know that we are on our Thanksgiving break next week and will not have any classes next week. And so we are looking forward to that in a lot of ways. But we've had a good first 3.5 months of the school year. It's been very productive for us. We have a lot of great work going on, great staff, and we'll take some time to reflect, enjoy family, and come back after the break ready to continue the momentum that we've established. The last item that I have is just to share, report out on the Wall Street Journal article that was we were featured in a few days ago. The Wall Street Journal came out and did an article on our proximity learning, which is our online online platform learning program that we have at Duncanville High School. And so I had an opportunity to speak to the person that was conducting the interview. We followed that up with several classroom visitations, and they were very impressed with what they saw, and they reported out in one of their articles recently. So we're really proud to be recognized for some of the innovative things that we're doing in the district, and to be recognized by the Wall Street Journal was very impressive. So proud of our staff and all that were involved in that. And the next item that I have on our on the superintendent's report is to ask if Mr. Casey Cheshire can come up and give a report on the Education Foundation. Actually, it's not the last item. I have one more item after this.
I'll be quick. Well, Dr. Smith, Madam President, trustees, I'm here on behalf of the Education Foundation Board to give you a quick report and recognize our top district partners for the 5th Annual Heart of Duncanville 5K on October 13th. As indicated in the packet of information that you received, we actually set 4 records in 2018. Number 1, we had over 1,000 registered participants for the 5K and 1 mile combined, which is up about 200 from the year before, so awesome jobs there. Number 2, which this is tremendous, we were able to raise $26,450 in net proceeds from the race, so that's awesome right there. That is up quite a bit from years past. Number 3, this is a little interesting one, we actually set the record amount of rainfall during one of our 5K races. In all seriousness, we did have a great event despite a little rain, and I want to thank Dr. Smith, this board, and each campus for their continued support. Without the strong relationship with the district and the tremendous community support, this event would not be possible. In 5 years, if you guys listen to this number, it's pretty amazing. We've raised nearly $108,000 for the Education Foundation, which has become our top fundraiser. So thank you guys for your support. Now, as I mentioned, I do want to recognize several individuals from the district that went above and beyond. I do want to kind of give a shout out to several volunteer groups. We actually had the entire Duncanville Pantherettes JV and varsity teams that were out on the course as monitors, directing folks and making sure that everyone was back safe. And they stayed in the rain as well. They sat out there with umbrellas and all. We also had several members of the boys basketball team out there, as well as the volleyball team was at the water stop providing drinks out there. So thank you to those folks, and make sure you all give them a pat on the back when you see them. Now, we also recognize our top participating campus, and if anyone's here from these groups, please stand up. I know a few of them are here today. We had Brandenburg, which is for back-to-back years with team captain Kenda Lilly and their principal, Mrs. Thompson. So congratulations, Brandenburg. For our Spirit Award winners, and this is the one that dressed up on race day and show spirit, and I give these guys extra credit too because they knew they were going to get drenched and still made posters. We had Hardin, who was team captain Krause Monster, and the principal, Mrs. Lewis. And then we recognize Heart Award winners, and those are individuals that go above and beyond to support the fundraiser in different ways. We actually had 3 team captains that we want to give a shout out to. We had from Daniel Intermediate, their team captain Jennifer Ernest. She's here. She's here today. We had team captain from Hastings Elementary, Coach J. John Thomas. He's their PE teacher, and he had the largest increase in participation from one year to the next. And he had, I'm telling you, we always talk about team captains really push the energy. That guy had a ball, had it going there at Hastings, but he did an awesome job. We also recognize team captain at Duncanville High School, Barbara Robertson Payton. Duncanville High School now, there we go. And she had like 80 people sign up before I even sent her the registration form. So good job to Mrs. Simmons and Barbara Robertson Payton there. And then I do want to recognize one of our committee members. She's been on there for the last 2 years. She's also part of the district's communications department. Miss Lori Behringer, if you're here, just make sure we give that team, give them a round of applause there for their work. And I did mention we set 4 records, so I want to kind of quickly draw your attention to the 4th one. If you turn to the 3rd page of the information that provides you, we have all the different numbers of all the different schools that participated. And this has never happened in years past, and I want to make sure I point this out. It's one big thing that stands out. We had representation from every school in every department within the entire district. So that is amazing. I want to give the district a big round of applause for our support there for the foundation. Thank you all very much.
We will now have the swearing in of the Duncanville ISD Police Department officers.
All right, thank you, Madam President. You may have noticed the additional security we have in the room this evening. No wonder I felt a lot safer coming into the board meeting. It brings me great pleasure to be able to discuss this next item and kind of witness this for our school district. So the last item that I have on the agenda for the superintendent's report and items is to go through the official swearing-in process of our police chief and officers. As I make a few opening comments, I'm going to ask our chief, Mrs. Chief Hampton, if she could come up to the front area. If you could make your way up as I'm kind of making my comments. And then also at the same time, I'm going to ask our board president to go around and join Chief Hampton. So we've had a very challenging last couple of years as we have tried to provide the safety and security and support that we need in our school district. Since we first learned that our previous system for the police officers was no longer operating for us, we started to work diligently to find a different solution. And so we were fortunate to have our neighbors from the Mansfield ISD Police Department to reach out and provide a lot of support for us. So for those of you that are from Mansfield ISD, if you could just kind of wave, let us know you're here. We want to say thank you for assisting us. If you could let Dr. V know that I said thank you, I will follow up and call him personally, but let him know I said thank you. It's Chief Jimmy Womack, if you could just kind of raise your hand so they can put a face with a name. He really was instrumental in providing the support for our officers during the time of the transition. And so we really appreciate that. And then we went through the process of seeking a police chief. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a police chief, of course, that had the integrity and the performance and understood what it meant to serve in a school district. And so she is very well equipped for the job. You'll hear a little bit about her resume when we go through the hiring process, but just really proud of Chief Hampton. She's done a wonderful job. She's been here since August, and I've never had a single doubt that we made the right decision to have you here leading our police department in this new effort. And so in the next few moments, we're going to go through the swearing-in process. And Ms. Tiara Richards will assist our board president in that effort. And so at this time, I'll turn it over to Tiara.
Chief Hampton brings more than 27 years of experience in law enforcement to this role. She was most recently a deputy chief in the Arlington Police Department. During her time in Arlington, Chief Hampton supervised large-scale events at AT&T Stadium, managed the tactical unit, jail operations, patrol divisions, and also spent time as a school resource officer and sergeant. In her short time, she's already had an impressive impact on our schools. And it's with distinct pleasure that I get to do this. Chief Hampton, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chief Hampton, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the position of chief in the Duncanville Independent School District, Dallas County, Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Thank you very much. Does Dr. Hampton, Chief Hampton, sorry, have any family here? Yes. Come forward, please. And I think that you have the distinct honor to pin her badge on her. The uniform looks very nice. Patch. Looks good. Thank you. Very nice.
So standing before you today, I'd like to introduce my team to you. I'll start off by asking the officers to come up. Sergeant Mitchell Lambert, Sergeant Christopher Dawsey, Officer Chris Russell, Sergeant Mitchell Lambert has 8 years of law enforcement. After graduating the police academy in 2010, Sergeant Lambert worked 4 years at the Mahale Police Department. During the time at Mahale Police Department, he was promoted to the shift supervisor and was a member of the tactical response team that worked alongside of the DEA on various operations. Sergeant Lambert joined the Duncanville ISD family in 2014. Sergeant Lambert is currently a detective sergeant with special skills in investigating child offenses, and he's also a TCODE certified instructor. Sergeant Lambert had the honor of participating in the Covering the Street program after the Dallas officer ambush in 2016. This program allowed the DPD family to grieve while surrounding law enforcement agencies worked and provided police services to the city of Dallas. Sergeant Lambert has lived in 36 of our 50 states, and he's married with 2 kids. Sergeant Christopher Dawsey. Sergeant Dawsey worked 7 years at the Texas Department of Corrections, and he was in the Army for 9 years. Sergeant Dawsey graduated the police academy in 2010 and became a member of the Mahale Police Department in 2011. During his time at Mahale Police Department, he was promoted to the shift supervisor and worked as a K-9 officer. Sergeant Dawsey joined the Duncanville ISD family in 2016. Sergeant Dawsey since has been promoted to sergeant rank and Sergeant Dossie has plans to finish his degree in criminal justice. Last but not least, Officer Christopher Russell. Officer Russell has 6 years of service as a law enforcement officer. He graduated from the Police Academy in 2012 and joined the Van Zandt County Sheriff Office. Officer Russell worked as a patrol deputy, as a field training officer, and was a member of the SWAT team while working at the Van Zandt County Sheriff Office. Officer Russell joined the Duncanville ISD family in 2014. Officer Russell is a certified mental health police officer, and he also has his T-code instructor license as well. Now, you will become the first officers of the Duncanville ISD Police Department. So I ask you to raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Christopher Dawson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the position of, state your rank,
of the position of Sergeant
I, in the Duncanville Independent School District,
in the Duncanville Independent School District,
Dallas County, Texas,
Dallas County, Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Now, at this time, I would like to invite the family and friends that's been selected to pin the badges on the officers up at this time.
So, yes, we
We're official. Well, finally, finally official. This is Mahale next year. Finally official. Well, it's official now.
So that concludes our ceremony for our police department. We are now official. Very proud of our officers and the work that they've done and just the commitment that they've had in Duncanville. And I see Chief Brown back there, who is the chief of police in Duncanville. I want you all to know he was very supportive, has been very supportive of Chief Brown in helping us in any way really that we need. So we appreciate you, Chief Brown, as well. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll turn the meeting back over to Madam President.
We will now move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move we accept the consent agenda with the addition of items from the action agenda, B, C, D, E, and F.
Second.
Tom Kennedy made the motion to have items B through F moved to the consent agenda, and Board Member Phil McNeely seconded. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Move to approve.
Second.
Tom Kennedy made the motion and seconded by Phil McNeely to approve the consent agenda as amended. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 6-0. Okay. We now move to the action. Okay. We now move to the action agenda item A, audit report and comprehensive annual financial report for 2017-2018, presented by Dr. Ed Bigby.
Find it unique that when we get to the audit time, everybody leaves. There's no reflection on the interest.
Some are just lucky.
Well, you don't have to deal with me. Claire Wooten is here from the Weaver Company, and she's going to present the audit to you.
Good evening. You have before you the 2017-2018 audited financial report, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR. And I'm here to present to you the audit results of that report. I'm going to go through an introduction of the firm really briefly, and then go over our audit process briefly, and then the results, and then go over a few quick financial highlights, and then we'll cover any questions. So first of all, oh yes, sorry, thank you. We're the largest independent CPA firm based in the Southwest. We audit 4 of the 5 largest districts in the state, and over 50 of Texas public school districts and charter schools in the state of Texas. And that's just to say we have a very large public sector practice in the state. Next, I'm just going to go over the audit process and the results for you guys. First of all, we start our initial planning during the summer, and we come out in first week of June to go over the controls of the district and the financial policies. We test controls and start the single audit. And then in September and October, we come out and do the financial testing. So we test the final numbers that you see before you. And then we finish our single audit as well. And the single audit is the results of your federal audit, the federal single audit. We had our exit meeting with Dr. Smith on Thursday of last week, and then here we are tonight for our board meeting. And then we're also here year-round to discuss any continuous questions that come up as far as bond issuances. If the financial team has any questions throughout the year, we're always available. So the audit was performed in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as generally accepted government auditing standards, and then along with Single Audit Act and uniform guidance. The audit process was a risk-based approach, where we look for potential areas that could be of higher risk. So we look at specifically foundation aid, which is your state aid from the state, fictitious vendors, fictitious payroll expenditures, and then journal entries. So the audited financial statements in front of you, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion you can get. It's a clean report. There were no material weaknesses identified and no significant deficiencies identified either. Then there was no non-compliance that we identified. So your federal awards, which is the federal single audit, that's in the back of your CAFR in front of you. That we issued an unmodified opinion, and you're also considered a low-risk auditee, which means you haven't had any material weaknesses in the previous 2 fiscal years, as well as no findings and question costs related to those 2 prior fiscal years. There were no material weaknesses and controls over those major programs tested this year, and there were no significant deficiencies identified either. And there were no other audit findings that we were required to identify. And this year's major program was the Title I major program. So I'm going to go over some financial highlights that you're going to see in the CAFR in front of you. So this slide represents the revenues from fiscal year 17 to fiscal year 18. You're going to see your biggest jump in your local and intermediate sources, which is about $6 million, and that's in what you saw in property tax values increase this year, so that local revenue. Your state programs also decreased this year about $5 million, and then your federal program revenues remained about the same, and we'll see that in detail in this slide as well. So your total fiscal year 18 revenues totaled $145.3 million, which was a decrease of just $462,000 or 0.32% compared to fiscal 17. And those changes were seen mostly in your local intermediate sources increasing $5 million, and that's related to the property values increasing. And then your state programs, which decreased $4.4 million, primarily due to your district's per capita state aid, so your foundation revenue, and then your EDA allotment, which was another $1.1 million. And then your federal programs decreased $1 million, primarily due to the no E-rate revenue this year in fiscal 18. Next is a comparison of expenditures in your governmental funds from 17 to 18. So you can see those in the pie chart. And the changes this year are seen here. Your fiscal expenditures totaled $146.3 million, which is a decrease of 12.4 over fiscal 17, or 7.8%. Those largest changes were seen. Debt service had an expenditures increase this year of $1.3 million due to increased principal payments. And then facilities acquisition and construction decreased $12.5 million in fiscal 18, and that was due to decreased activity in the construction projects in fiscal 18, as those bond programs have been wrapping up. And then your governmental funds balance from 17 to 18, you can see here. Your governmental funds increased by approximately $3.9 million in total. This increase is due primarily to $6 million increase in your general fund, so that's your main operating fund. And this was related to the taxable property values in the area that increased your local tax revenue, and as well as a reduction in expenditures. And in addition, there was $3.1 million decrease in your capital projects fund, and that's related to your bond program capital expenditures. So $4.47 million in bond proceeds were issued this year, and that helped offset $8.1 million in continued capital expenditures. Then lastly, there was a $979,000 increase in your debt service fund, and that related to increase in your taxable property values as well, which was also offset by an increase in your principal payments. And then this last slide just goes over your fund balance in a general view. So your unassigned fund balance in 17 and 18 increased about $6 million from about $44.3 million in 17 to $50.3 in 18. Your expenditures decreased slightly from $104 million to $103.3 million. And you can see that your unassigned fund balance is 49% of those expenditures. So your expenditures per month, and that was just a calculation over 12 months, is $8.6 million. And your months in your fund balance is 5.8. So that increased from last year from 5.1 months in your unassigned fund balance to 5.8. And so that unassigned fund balance is fund balance that you can use on anything. It's unassigned, unrestricted. And we just like to show this so that it shows that you guys are maintaining an adequate level of fund balance to mitigate risk. And so that's all I have for you today. But we appreciate working with you all, and we appreciate the hard work of Dr. Bigby and his staff. Do you all have any questions?
Yes.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yes.
In the book? In the big
Yes,
book we
the
got?
bound one.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
It's there.
Well, I've had it in my hand about an hour. I'm not quite finished with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We now move to Information Agenda Item A, Strategic Goal Number 4 Update, Focus on Employees and Organizational Improvement, presented by Kathleen Brown.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Smith, Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to present to you tonight an update of Board Goal Number 4, which is a focus on employees and organizational improvement. And so monthly, we are coming to you to present an update on the goals and the work that has been done in those areas thus far. And so we will start off by looking at the objectives under Goal Number 4. So goal number 4 has 3 objectives. The first objective is to attract, recruit, and effectively induct the best staff for student success. Objective 2 is to recognize and retain staff members who exemplify the Duncanville ISD's mission, vision, and values. And the final objective under this goal is to provide professional development opportunities for our staff that are aligned with our district goals and that are differentiated to meet our individual staff and student needs. This past school year, we again hosted our district job fair in April of 2018. The job fair, again, was a huge success. We had over 765 applicants who registered, and so that is an increase from our previous year, and so we are hoping to increase even more. Our goal is over 800 this school year. Over 60 of our new hires this year were recruited at our in-district job fair, so it has proven to be successful for us, and we've already narrowed down to 2 dates, and we're choosing between those 2 dates for our job fair in April or May of this year. The Duncanville ISD recruitment team. Our recruitment team recruited at 29 job fairs during the 17-18 school year, and so that is also an increase for us. We've spent lots of time recruiting across the state of Texas and then also in some neighboring states as well, as we're looking for the best and the brightest to join our team. One highlight of that is in previous years, we've started the year with openings in our bilingual classrooms, and this year we were able to solidify bilingual staff, and so that was a huge plus for us and is attributed to the hard work of our recruitment team and our principals at our campuses. This year, the team has already attended 4 job fairs this fall, most recently at UNT TWU, and we've already narrowed down some candidates who are currently being interviewed for positions that we have need for here in the district, so we're excited about that. Our new employee and substitute under orientation. Each Thursday, the Thursday of every week, we hold new hire orientation here at the plaza. And in the 17-18 school year, over 400 new hires were processed and attended orientation by the HR staff. We also have increased the number of substitute orientations that we have here in the district. We are having those on a monthly basis. During the 17-18 school year, we've increased our active substitutes to 312 substitutes in the district. About 3 years ago, that number was around a little over 150, so we are very proud of the success. That has directly impacted our ability to fill positions as teachers are absent. Another thing with that is that our staff has done we focus a lot on student attendance. We've had a big focus on staff attendance, and so we've also decreased sometimes the number of substitutes we need because staff are doing a much better job of being at work. So that's exciting for us as well. So our subs are saying, I want to work, I want to work. The next piece is the annual employee appreciation event on last year as we collaborate with our fabulous communications team to celebrate the greatest employees on earth who are here in Duncanville ISD. And at that event, of course, we have an opportunity to recognize our Teachers of the Year, Spirit of the Champion, those individuals who are retiring for our district, and we are gearing up for that again this spring and looking to add a few more awards to that event. Along with recognizing our employees, Made with Pride in Duncanville. It's another opportunity to recognize the staff and our students our teachers who are doing great things here in the district. I mentioned before that we are focusing on attendance. One of our campuses across the board, our attendance has been up for our staff. One of our campuses I would like to recognize is Central Elementary School, who had the highest attendance rate for their staff on last year, over 96%. And so that is fantastic. And so do want to recognize them. And also, we always have to find more opportunities to recognize our outstanding auxiliary employees. They are essential to the work that goes on here in the district. And so we can't do anything without them. And so with objective 3, it's a focus on our professional development. As our recruitment team goes out, one of the things that we found is that it is very essential. New teachers coming into the profession are asking, what happens in your district to support new teachers? We know that we lose our novice teachers within the first 5 years. And so one of the things we're very proud of under our professional development department is that this year we have support on a different level for our new teachers in the form of our New Teacher Institute. The New Teacher Institute, they have regular meetings every 6 weeks, so every new teacher is a part of that. And in those meetings, they have an opportunity to do some team building because you need one another when you're a new teacher. I can think back and remember all the support I needed and would have been excited to have this opportunity. And there's a time in there where they're focusing specific on instructional strategies, those things that will help them be successful in the classroom. So they're learning from the experts and also having time to collaborate with one another. And then also there's Region 10 support in district for our new teachers as well. In the middle, you can see a picture of the book study that they are currently doing in those meetings, and it's called the First Year Teacher Survival Guide. And so we are getting great feedback on that. Also under professional development is professional development days and campus design. And so our staff in those opportunities have an opportunity to learn from others, to learn from one another. And we have 3 different types of days. And so we have our professional development days that are district days. And at those district days, those are organized by the district. And in those opportunities, the staff has an opportunity to participate in things that are meaningful for them. So particularly their content area that they are teaching in. The campus design days give staff an opportunity to work on the work and lessons for their particular campus. And that can look like many different things. That may look like them planning in their professional learning community. It may look like the whole staff looking at some things that are instructionally sound and based to impact their lesson plan. And then the final type of day we have are teacher work days. Everybody loves teacher work days because that gives staff an opportunity to work in their rooms per se, to get things ready for their students. And so our professional development department has done a great job with the curriculum instruction team of aligning our professional development. I mean, it's equipped with food trucks and everything. Everything their need is on site. If you've had an opportunity, or if you have not had an opportunity to see that, I encourage you to take a look at that at the next one. We even go over to make sure that we partake in that as well. Finally, under professional development is a focus on administrator training. We know that leadership is important, and so for our administrator training, we currently use Eduphoria, and that's just a system where walkthrough data is housed, where administrators are out and they're looking at the teaching and learning in classrooms and compiling that information. But that is at a different level with our chief of schools, our chief academic officer, and those in the curriculum team, along with our principals. They're really focusing in those trainings on analyzing that data so that it's informing our administrators on what support that our teachers need so that they can be very intentional about the work. And so that is an update on strategic goal number 4, focus on employees and organizational improvement. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time. Okay, thank you.
There are no questions. I made a mistake. We're going to have to go back briefly to item number 7A, Audit Report and Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for 2017-2018 that was presented by Dr. Bigby. We need to vote on it. Do I have a motion to consider approval of the audit report?
So moved.
Second.
Tom Kennedy made the motion, seconded by Phil McNeely to approve the audit report. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. We now move to information agenda item B, campus improvement plans presented by Dr. Lamb.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. I bring to you an update on the district and campus improvement plans. According to the Texas Education Code 11.251, the school board shall ensure the district improvement plan and improvement plans for each campus developed, reviewed, and revised annually for the sole purpose of improving performance for all students. This process consists of developing committees at the campus and also at the district level. The committee's responsibility is to develop, review, and revise improvement plans. They also make recommendations for the plan for the campus and the district to put in action. The focus is always tied to the district goals, the campus performance data, performance objectives, strategies, and also timelines. The improvement process begins with doing a comprehensive needs assessment to identify root cause that prohibit students' performance. This drives the construction of the plan. Once the plan is developed and put in place, there are also checkpoints and evaluation timelines throughout the school year to ensure the plan is helping the schools and the district meet their targets and goals. The goal develops are SMART goals, and those goals are aligned to the district goals, the mission, the vision, and also the beliefs. The targets and goals that are embedded and aligned to the district strategic plan. Its focus is to address the highest priorities of the district, a plan of action and also objectives that will be met and also manageable and significant enough to accomplish the objective and targets for each campus and also the district. This process includes a number of different strategies that are implemented on the campus as well as the district levels. It also assigns responsibilities, resources that should be allocated to accomplish this plan, expected due dates, and the evidence of impact. This is a slide of how the plan looks in Plan for Learning. The checkpoints are at November, January, April, and then there's a summary evaluation in June. And what the campus improvement team and also the district improvement team will do is assess whether or not the campus improvement plan help the campus and also the district meet their targets and goals. This is an example of a district goal, and we also shared information for you to be able to view all the plans and Plan for Learning for the district and also the campus. The district has a focus this year on strategies for content understanding, also improving instruction through walkthroughs, professional learning communities, coaching feedback, and also an understanding of the TEACS resource system. Each of these allow the campus improvement team and also the district improvement team to have a laser-like focus to ensure that they're meeting the goals for each campus. Are there any questions?
Any questions? All right. We now move to information agenda item C, Dallas County Promise Update. Dr. Lamb.
And they're picking on you.
Evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith. What we have is an update for Dallas County Promise, and what I would like to point out to you that the information that you have in your packet is old information. We updated this information as of Friday. It's updated each Friday. And so if you look at the first bullet point of information, it says 583 applied Texas applications submitted by 222 students. The number that you have in your initial slide is a little different than that number. This number represents the number of students that have submitted and also been processed. The number that you have is just the number that's been submitted. It also shows that 92% of the senior class have completed the pledge. As you may remember, when they first discussed the Dallas Community Promise, there are 3 steps to the process: making the pledge, completing the Dallas Community College application, and also completing the FAFSA application, which is the free application for federal student aid. We also have 216 students that have completed the FAFSA process, which equals about 22% of the senior class. The state has awarded each one of those students $4,010 in Pell Grant money, which totals $870,000 of Pell Grant money as of November 2nd. We also have a number of students that have received scholarships to other universities totaling $136,000. And if you don't remember, students apply to any college or university. They also apply to Dallas Community College in case they are not accepted, are able to receive funds to go to a different college or university. And this is just an update. Yes, ma'am.
Just one question. The report we received had 765 applications from 193 students. And this new update has 222 students, but only 583 applications.
Yes, so it's more students and the applications that were processed. The initial report you see, those applications were submitted but not processed.
Okay, that number's the processed ones.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And so for informational purposes, the students can apply to more schools so that you have more students submitting applications. So they don't have a cap on how many applications they can submit.
Any other questions?
I just want to add that the bottom part about the Pace High School partnering with Cedar Valley College, when Ms. Hudson came and talked to us about her vision, that's part of the vision that she had, and they're doing above and beyond what they used to do at Pace, and I encourage them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We now move to information agenda item D, Leadership Development Program, presented by Dr. Lamb.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. I would like to share the following information about one of the opportunities that our employees have to participate in leadership development. Under the direction and the vision of Dr. Smith, we built a leadership academy that allows our employees that have aspirations to be in leadership to get some education, some training, and application of that leadership pedagogy and expertise. Mr. Nix and myself are the primary facilitators for the Leadership Academy. The Leadership Academy centers around the Association for Supervision of Curriculum Development Leadership Framework. Principal as a visionary leader, principal as an instructional leader, principal as an engager and leader, and principal as a learner and collaborator. Also embedded in the framework is Daniel Goldman's Emotional Intelligence, Susan David's Emotional Agility, Robert Maranzano's The Art of Teaching and Learning, John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and the most important part of the program is they're able to learn from my experiences and Mr. Nick's experiences, so they won't make the same mistakes. The goal and purpose of the ILA, we know from a research standpoint that leadership is second only to a classroom teacher in improving student performance. And so we have in education come up with a way to determine how do we improve leadership amongst people who are moving or who have aspirations to move in leadership. There is only a certain amount of time and energy that we have to devote to something that's this important. But what we have done is try to increase the leadership capacity of all individuals that participate in the ILA. The process to be selected is very rigorous. An email goes out to the entire district at the beginning of the school year, and anyone who would like to participate fills out an application and also submits a paper, essay paper, and they have to have 2 recommendations. One of those recommendations has to be their current principal. Once we receive all of that information, we go through all of that information and we select the top candidates based on the recommendation letters and also the papers that are submitted. And they have to have they go through a digital interview. They have to record themselves asking some very out-of-the-box questions about leadership. Once we receive all of the videos, we then screen the videos for what we consider to be the top candidates to move into the ILA. And as you see, those pictures are Mr. Nix and I awarding this year's ILA participants with a book that we use, one of the books that we use, also their letter, a certificate, and also a syllabus that we'll use throughout the year. The curriculum is very rigorous, and it allows for participants to learn leadership theories, best practice, and what that looks like in action. Some of the concepts that we discuss and talk about in the ILA are servant leadership. What does it mean to have impactful communication? What is ambitious goal setting? Coaching with dollops of feedback, data-driven decision-making, organization management, budget, human capital, conflict resolution, effective collaboration, crucial conversations, emotional intelligence, which embeds emotional agility, adaptability, and relational intelligence. The participants are challenged at a very high level to be able to apply what is learned in each session into their current position. I believe that people who aspire to be in a leadership position should not lead when they get a leadership position. They should be leading now. Another part of the program is doing an action learning project. And action learning involves a process of a small group of people working on a real world problem. And so what we do is we divide everyone in the ILA into a team, an action learning team, and they have to come up with and identify one of the challenges that we have as a district or on a campus and provide a solution. The caveat to that is they cannot request additional personnel or additional resources because there's this belief that if you have more personnel and more money that you can resolve problems, and that's not actually based on any amount of research. So this process here allows them to go through and spend the whole year trying to come up with a solution to a district problem. One of the teams from our previous Principal Leadership Academy came up with a process to give teachers feedback based on recording themselves teaching a lesson. And so what happens is a teacher can record a lesson, upload it into YouTube, and another teacher can watch that lesson, actually learn from the lesson, but also give feedback on what they can do to improve the lesson. And so this is not evaluative in nature. You remove the administrative presence, so teachers are more receptive to do it, and it allows teachers to improve their craft. Another part of the ILA that we added this year is ambassadors. These 5 assistant principals went through the Principal Leadership Academy last year, and we picked them because there's an extension that needs to take place for the students to continue to learn and extend their learning. And so now we've set up a Google Classroom for each of the ILA participants to go to and kind of extend the conversations that we're having in ILA. Also, I believe that in leadership, a demonstration of mastery of leadership concepts and theories is your ability to teach that to someone else. And so these 5 people have an opportunity to actually teach and coach the current ILA members. I believe leadership is one of the most important things that we can do in education. Promoting collaborative problem solving, using data to identify and plan for needed changes, utilizing system thinking to establish a clear focus, and also having a shared responsibility. What does it mean to be great? Because we talk about great pretty regularly. In ILA, we actually discuss and demonstrate what greatness looks like. And so in 2016, 2017, we had 12 participants to go through ILA. 7 of them were promoted to a leadership position. In 2017, 2018, we had 18 participants to go through ILA, and 3 of them were promoted into a leadership position. I will say we had less leadership positions open this past year. Our current ILA has 18 participants, and we expect many of them to move into a leadership position if one should open in the school district. And now we'll have a short video kind of summarizing the experience of some of the ILA participants.
I was at a point in my career where I had taken a turn that I hadn't expected. Well, I was looking for something, and I thought I'd go through ILA. I wanted to become a better instructional leader, and it gave me what I needed at that time. I enrolled in Lamar University's Principal Certification Prep program after 2 meetings, and I just finished in October, and I take my test in November. So I truly can attribute ILA as being the reason I decided to continue my education and continue my path in schools.
Both in my teaching classes, education classes at Baylor, and then going on and to receive my master's at UTA, I can say unequivocally that the ILA was the best class I've ever taken because it prepares you for things that have not yet happened. It just frames and shapes your mind to be able to address those things that can't be taught.
Dr. Lamb mentioned that in order to be a leader
And not just in order to be a leader, but to be a good leader, you must be a master problem solver. Meaning that when you're in that leadership role, many different things are going to come at you in different angles, and it's how you handle them and how you carry yourself through those different times. And so just the opportunity as an assistant principal during the summer gave me an opportunity to see what it meant to be a master problem solver.
Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You said you divide up into groups, and I assume since it's a relatively small class, they're small groups, but who assigns those problems? Do you assign those problems?
Well, we allow them to come up with a problem and kind of guide them to something that's realistic. And so some of the action learning teams will submit something that's not realistic, and so we'll send them back to the drawing table to come up with a different problem. But we kind of guide them. We give them some parameters.
It sounds similar to what I went through with that TASB, board leadership training program, except we did some other things, which I know you probably couldn't do. But it's exciting that we offer that to some of our people, to give them the opportunity to learn to be a leader.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you. Our last information agenda item, 8E, instructional materials update, presented by Dr. Lamb.
Evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. I bring to you an instructional materials update. According to the Texas Education Code 31.004 and Duncanville Policy EFA Legal, the school board shall ensure that it provides each student with instructional materials that cover all elements of the essential knowledge and skills adopted by the State Board of Education. The instructional materials allotment and the immediate priorities is to establish an instructional materials oversight committee. This is recommended as a best practice. It's not something that we have utilized in the past, but it's something we will utilize moving forward. And one of the first priorities will be establishing Proclamation 2019, a subcommittee, as we have a English language arts and reading adoption that is coming due this spring. The first order of business is to establish the subcommittee. Because of planning and timelines, which I will cover later in the presentation, this work has already begun. Some of the background information about the instructional materials allotment: it was created in 2011 by Senate Bill 6, and it provides districts with money to purchase instructional materials. It's dispersed every biennium, and we are in the second year of the biennium. Our current instructional materials allotment is approximately $2.3 million. Establishing the Materials Oversight Committee consists of developing a group of people who can ensure transparency, accountability, and open participation throughout the instructional materials and selection and adoption process. It also addresses all strategic goals, Goal 1, Goal 2, Goal 3, Goal 4, and Goal 5. Proclamation 2019 subcommittee will be primarily responsible for screening and vetting all of the English language arts adoptions for K through 8 and K through 6 in Spanish. And it also we have to use this adoption for the next 8 years. So it is essential that we get materials that will align to the Texas essential knowledge and skills. This adoption includes not only textbooks, but online access to resources, technology software, and ancillary materials. The timeline, which has already begun, is establishing an oversight committee, which then will establish a subcommittee. A planning and review of materials and create an instructional materials landing page on the district website. And we'll also contract with a company called Learning List, and Learning List allows you to ensure the materials submitted by all textbook adoption companies aligns to the TEKS. After careful screening and vetting, the subcommittee will make a recommendation which we will bring to the school board in the spring. The subcommittee will consist of representatives from each campus, teachers, counselors, paraprofessionals, administrators, and we'll also have a central office staff, we'll have parents, and we'll also have some students from the high school. Are there any questions?
No, and thank you for your time.
Thank
Now
you.
move to communications from citizens. Are there any communications? We do not have any communications from the citizens. Being that there are no further items to discuss, this meeting is adjourned.